Yeah, I think again, when you take the emotion out of it, it's it's a point on the road, but again, I think what we're chasing is performances. And I thought again for 70 minutes we were a really good team. I thought we started getting sloppy with the ball um, in the latter stages of the game, which ended up stretching our team out a little bit. But again, I think it's a learning curve. We have a really young group. And these are experiences that unfortunately you have to go through to learn from. I mean, there's no other way to, say it. If we had, 30-year-olds across, the back line in those moments, I'd be, very disappointed. But we got a really young group, and in especially this particular part of the season, it's about making plays. And if you haven't seen a lot of those at this level, then it's going to be difficult, So, we did improve on the set pieces from last game. We'll improve on the low block defending after this game, and we got a quick turnaround for Wednesday, so we got to make sure our heads are right. We put forth the same type of effort, same type of performance that we had for 70 minutes, and just clean up the areas that cost us the 2 points.
You talk about the young group that implies kind of learning and building for the future, obviously, but does that future also include were some of the moments from tonight good learning lessons, not just for this in future, but for this stretch run for the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's the way, and the reason why I always talk about performances. And from a coaching perspective, you can get really emotional, and you can lose sight of what games are for in the regular season. And for me, it's always about the self. We can, Austin just play a certain way. But when we play to our principles, and we understand that what looks like a moment that isn't going to cause you danger, and it does, that's really the learning. And so for me, it's about being dialed in for 90 plus minutes. And again, I think the game against Portland, we did a really good job until the end, and in this game. So again, we're close. But like everyone else, you got to work on certain things, and the game provides you areas of weakness for you, and areas of concern that you have to touch up on, because again, the playoffs are going to be much tighter games. And again, I think we did a really good job for most of the game. Looks like we ran out of gas a little bit, towards the end, and I attribute that to being very loose with the ball. And then again, if you're loose with the ball up front, you're not up front. If you're loose with the ball, period, you're going to find yourself running in transition. And in a place like Austin or Houston, the game gets stretched. The crowd gets into the game, and all of a sudden the home team has a lot of energy, and you're feeling like you're behind a little bit. So some things to look at. But again, I say youthfulness, and it was the one thing I would say is just understand what the game is asking for in the moment, and again, I think for the most part, the guys that came in did a really good job, but it was just a couple of moments that ended up costing us.
Last thing for me, but back-to-back games, I think for the Diogo gets a goal, obviously this one from the spot on some circumstances. But is he starting to kind of figure out this group, this club, this league, that kind of thing? Are those little things kind of starting to put together?
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think, he's come into our group at unfortunately the toughest time of the season for us. Whereas he would have come in a couple months earlier, it would have been so easy to integrate him in with the group. When you're going through a bit of adversity, and not getting the results that you want, or the performances that are necessary to get you further along in the conference, it just adds a different dynamic of integration. But he's doing a great job. He's understanding with every game how this league works, the travel in this league, his teammates, and there's no doubt in my mind that Diogo will be a top player in this league.
David, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about Zach real quick. Looked like his arm was hanging a little heavy there at the end. And then kind of, I guess, the decision to start him tonight in the first place.
Yeah, again, I think, last week was tough. We conceded quite a few goals. And I just think for young players in general, there's a lot of learning going on. And I think last week brought a bunch of those moments where I thought we could have done better. in particular from set pieces. And, so again, just trying to find the right balance of the group to try to get results. And, I think it's going to be, and I think Zach's performance tonight was really good. He was kind of stuck, left out to dry on a couple of those. The first goal went between, he was screened by Jay Glad, and the other one, I think we just got to do a better job in front of the ball. But I thought he brought some good control, some good poise, some good calm on the ball, and then made a couple saves as well. So, but again, I think, these last, now 3 games, it's really about thinking how we can get the group that's the most cohesive together in order to make a good run in the playoffs. And so, but yeah, that's kind of the situation.
And then just kind of with this theme in general of, the last couple games, getting the 2-0 lead and then settling for a draw. At what point does that kind of become, a pattern? And how do you guys deal with that from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, no, I think it's tough because again, it's that when you're playing this game, we can talk about moments all you want. As a player, you're experiencing fatigue. Certain moments, there's a little bit of doubt in your own individual game. That's a contagion to the rest of the group. And I think conceding that first goal, took the wind out from our sails, and it empowered Austin. And that's the dynamic that's on the field. And that's what I'm saying is now when we have the ball is to be sharp with it and not just to want to give it back to the other team and look beyond. It's really about now you have to be even more dynamic with the ball, and there's got to be more movements, but then the fatigue part plays in. And so where last week I felt our Achilles heel was, defending set pieces. And, tonight I think it's that low block defending where we didn't get enough pressure on the ball in wide areas and on top of the box. And we just allowed, a very good team to kind of dictate that. So some things to look at. Again, I think every game is his own event. I don't, it's only a concern if it continues to happen. But again, I think we made strides in one department, and now we see another area that we've got to be more dialed into. And so, hopefully Wednesday will be much tighter. But so we've been talking about defending, because that's the part that feels the worst. But I think we could have made so many better decisions in that final third to either find a better option at goal or just to keep the ball and make them run a little bit and take run them out essentially. And I think that's game management stuff. And that's another area that we'll hit on this week as well, because it's not just the defending part, but if you're giving the ball away very easily, the game becomes transitional. And obviously they have nothing to lose, so they're pushing all their numbers forward, and there's a cost to being cheap with the ball. So I think there's a couple good lessons tonight, and game management is going to be one of those things.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Pablo?
Pablo, let me just ask one quick question about just quick turnaround. Obviously Wednesday, Minnesota, they're flying high at a 3-1 win in Colorado tonight, and it's a tight group in the West, so everybody's trying to figure out a lot of the same things. So just what are your thoughts with getting this, I guess, disappointing taste out of the mouth and opportunity for a big game at home? Yeah,
well, that's what I explained to the guys, is we can sit here and feel sorry for ourselves about a difficult result. Again, I want to lean on the positive performance for the first 70 minutes, and then really dig into the areas that we have to, that we have to look at to improve for this game on Wednesday. It's a quick turnaround, so hopefully guys recover quick, and we get back on that horse and continue to become a better version of ourselves with one of each of the last 3 games. Thank you.
Pablo?